Is America about to enter another war in the Middle East? Tensions between Israel and Iran are no longer simmering. They're on the brink of boiling over. Drone attacks, strategic airstrikes, and rising proxy aggression have dominated headlines. But beneath the surface lies a question with global implications. Will the United States get involved? And if so, at what cost? This conflict isn't happening in isolation. It threatens the global economy, energy markets, and geopolitical stability. And whether you realize it or not, your wallet, your security, and your future may all be impacted. If you're watching this, you're not just curious, you're aware. So hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay informed while the rest of the world plays catch-up. Let's break it all down. Chapter 1. The Rising Fire. For decades, Israel and Iran have stood at ideological and military odds. But in recent months, there's been a dramatic shift. Iranian-backed militias have launched strikes. Israel has responded with decisive military force. Now regional allies are taking sides, and the risk of a multi-country war is higher than ever. Meanwhile, the U.S. sits at a crossroads, bound by deep ties to Israel, yet wearied by decades of war in the region. Chapter 2. Why it matters to the United States. The U.S. has massive strategic interests at stake. First, oil and shipping routes. The Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway off Iran's coast, sees 20% of the world's oil pass through daily. Second, alliances. A direct hit to Israel could trigger U.S. military support under long-standing defense agreements. Third, military assets. With bases in Qatar, Bahrain, and elsewhere, American troops are already within range of potential threats. A war doesn't just risk soldiers' lives. It threatens supply chains, market stability, and international credibility. Can the U.S. afford another war? The numbers speak for themselves. Since 2001, the U.S. has spent over $6 trillion on wars in the Middle East. Today, with inflation pressures, a ballooning national debt, and calls to cut federal spending, another war could be economically disastrous. The cost isn't just financial, it's political, it's social, and it's personal, especially for the next generation that may be asked to fight. Chapter 4. The Trump Factor. President Donald Trump's return to power has injected even more volatility into the situation. With a focus on tougher foreign policy, economic pressure on Iran, and bold rhetoric, Trump's stance could either deter aggression or accelerate confrontation.
His administration has already signaled that it won't tolerate attacks on U.S. allies, but critics warn that aggressive posturing could backfire, provoking rather than preventing escalation.
نکنند که زدند و تمام شد. نه. کار رو اونها شروع کردند و جنگ به راه انداختند.
Here are 3 scenarios unfolding before us. Diplomatic de-escalation. Back-channel talks lead to a temporary freeze in violence. Sanctions might ease, and cooler heads prevail, but this remains the least likely outcome. The U.S. supports Israel with intelligence, cyberattacks, or targeted strikes without full-scale deployment. Full war. A regional conflict breaks out, pulling in multiple nations, disrupting oil exports, tanking global markets, and reshaping global alliances. Any of these paths come with risk, some with irreversible consequences. So where does this leave us? In a world that feels increasingly unstable, the Middle East may once again be the match that lights the fuse. And the decisions made in Washington over the coming weeks may determine whether we're entering a new era of war or avoiding catastrophe. What do you think? Should the U.S. intervene to protect its interests and allies? Or is it time to take a step back and let regional powers resolve their own conflicts? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more in-depth breakdowns like this on finance, politics, and war, subscribe now and stay ahead of the narrative.